Shenron was standing in the middle of the lookout with a degree of anticipation. The human warriors were about to arrive, which made him want to keep his mind sharp. He didn't want to look weak or undecided. He had to show now and more than ever before that he embraced the role of their new guardian, and he needed their cooperation first and foremost. Mr. Popo had tasked Yajirobe with fetching the other humans. Good. The lazy Ronin could do with having a little bit more movement going about his day. He was showing potential as well, but he wasn't using said potential properly. When they arrived, he realized that Krillin was missing.
Whoa, Shenron! You're the new guardian?
Yamcha seemed surprised, but mostly pleasantly surprised.
So it wasn't explained to you? The dragon looked at Yajirobe puzzled.
I said new guardian, figuring out that you want to give them the dramatic reveal,
said the Ronin, biting off a piece of roast meat that he somehow had managed to smuggle atop the lookout, but Shenron paid no mind to it.
Also, what about Krillin? Why is he not with you?
Shenron looked around, trying to find the little monk.
Well, he decided that he can't leave Goku until he's completely recovered. He returned to Kame House after the confrontation with that new creature, whatever it is. He wanted to guard him in case the androids found out about stuff.
Tien then concurred, tilting his head in agreement with Yamcha. Shenron sighed.
Well, it seems like a pretty brave but ultimately futile effort, but I shall respect it. I am going to request his presence once Goku feels better. Alright, you may be wondering why I called you all here as of now. It is not to gloat about my new duty, I assure you. Piccolo and Kami have finally become one with one another, providing us with the best defense that we have seen since the androids arrived. But we have a new cunning enemy, one that takes after all of us.
So, what can we do about it? We're kind of outclassed anyway. Ever since the Saiyans attacked, whatever we do feels pointless.
Chaozu seemed a little bit unmotivated as well.
Yeah, we're absolutely gonna lose.
Chaozu, we are warriors!
Ten Shinhan scolded his little friend, bit slightly, but still, he was a little bit annoyed.
No, I understand where he is coming from. And you are right. The gap has expanded to the point where even I have problems keeping up with them. But with the Dragon Balls still being active, I was pondering about their original function.
Original function?
Yamcha blinked twice.
What do you mean, buddy?
It is something that I learned from Porunga when he was training with me here. But basically, Dragon Balls were meant to award the best fighters of the warrior clan. Not only the strongest ones, but those that had clarity of spirit and morality. This is how people at Namek envisioned their usage. Now we are here on Earth. We have only one Namekian and not a lot in terms of a dragon clan. Gentlemen, I have a proposition for you.
Shenron took a deep breath before saying this next part.
I want to create an order that is dedicated to defending Earth. I swore to be a more active guardian than my predecessor, yet I am aware that there are certain cosmic laws that prevent me from going all out in doing so, you could say. But that does not mean that I cannot prepare my own group of defenders and not use the Dragon Balls to elevate them further. I was thinking about you all, because you are of this Earth and have always shown bravery in terms of adversity. You will be the first of many.
There was a moment of very heavy silence as everyone looked at one another, processing what the Dragon Guardian had said.
This sounds interesting. Part of me was kind of worried that we would have to rely on the spacemen to do all the heavy lifting again.
Ten Shinhan crossed his arms. I'm in.
Well, of course you can count on me, Mr. Shenron, buddy. Let's do this.
Yamcha seemed really pumped at this.
Wherever Tien goes, I go. I do hope that this will help with something.
Chaozu nodded with a little bit of trepidation. Suddenly, they turned to Yajirobe to get his thoughts, but he had scarfed the food and was busy trying to run away.
Where do you think you're going, my friend?
The dragon looked to the Ronin.
What? Me? I'm just, I thought I was done since I brought them here, and why would you need me now?
Well, you know why. We could use your help, you know.
Shenron stroked his own beard for a moment, trying to convince the Ronin to stay.
No, you don't need me, you'll manage. I haven't been doing this whole fighting shtick in years.
We have food as well. I can basically manifest whatever I want.
Well, that might change for the likes of me. You might find yourself a real challenge.
Alright, so I want to welcome the 4 of you as the first 4 students of the Order of the Dragon.
Tenshinhan nodded slowly. Not to dismiss any ideas, but things are happening here and now. I assume you do have a plan to speed up the process, so that means we can be relevant, right? Shenron nodded.
Oh, that I do. Very perceptive, Tenshinhan. There is a place here on the lookout, which I will discuss with Goku once he has recovered, but I may as well tell you in the here and now. It is called the Room of Spirit and Time. 1 day here is 1 year inside of said chamber.
We had something like that the entire time?
Yamcha was shocked at this.
Indeed, but back in your day, you wouldn't have found it much use. It is very overwhelming and can drive people mad if you're not careful about it. It is placed in the middle of a white void, away from any distraction that you could imagine.
Well, when you present it like that, I'm not so sure if I even want to go in. Yamcha was shuddering at the mere explanation of said room.
You cannot have more than 2 people inside anyway, and I want to determine which 2 of you should go in first. That's why I've prepared a little challenge for your group inside the pendulum room.
Another horrible place again?
Chaozu was not happy to hear about that room again.
I know that you have some less than fond memories of that place, but I assure you, I would not have prepared for that challenge if I didn't have any faith in your abilities.
Come on, guys, we can do this. We just have to work as a team.
Yamcha decided to be the optimistic spirit for once.
I agree with Yamcha. We need to rely on each other. You and Yajirobe?
As the Ronin swallowed the rest of the roasted meat and had started to clean his teeth with a bone, that was now a distant reminder of his meal, he realized that now everyone was looking at him again.
Yeah, whatever.
Shenron took them then to the pendulum room. He knew that the way it was explained to them in the past was time travel, but that wasn't necessarily the case. This room only stored memories of past situations and visions. Nothing inside was real or objective, or could truly hurt them, but he didn't want to share it with the group entirely, this information, worrying that at least one member of the troop might not take this seriously. They needed to take this seriously for it to be effective. From his own personal experience, he knew how much human bodies could push themselves to the extreme if they found themselves in truly life-threatening situations.
Okay, so what do we gotta defeat this time?
Yamcha was trying to boost morale.
No one. I need you for simply to survive, and to land 1 hit on the evildoer that you'll meet inside.
Survive? What?
You will see. You have 5 minutes. Remember, just 1 hit.
Just 1? Well, that seems easy enough. Tenshinhan was looking suspicious at this.
You have to make that 1 hit count, Tenshinhan.
The Tricops nodded slowly. Understood. The 4 of them then gathered together as the giant pendulum inside the room stopped. Soon, everything around them started to change in an alien yet weirdly familiar landscape. Something the same, but different.
Wait, are we on?
Chaozu started, not believing what he was seeing right now.
Yeah, we're on Namek.
Tenshinhan finished the sentence. Then they saw 2 figures hanging in the air. One, which was very familiar to them, glowing all gold and majestic, and the other.
I'll destroy us both before I let you live,
uttered Frieza angrily. Yamcha looked at the rest of them.
Oh no, Frieza!
Meanwhile, Piccolo met up with Krillin at the Kame house. Luckily, it seemed that Goku had started to look a little bit better, and when they arrived, their friend was already back up on his feet.
All right, good to see you here. I just need to find Trunks and Vegeta. I've got an idea.
Is it about the time chamber? Shenron's kind of already preparing that for the rest of them. The Namekian explained to the Saiyan what had occurred when he was out cold.
And he's a new guardian? Well, that's great. All right, I gotta go and find these two. Guard the Kame house while I'm gone, okay?
Unfortunately, some uninvited guests decided to appear on Master Roshi's island, because sadly, the androids remembered their primary directive and decided to pay them a visit, so Piccolo had to be the one to take initiative. Of course, 17 would easily dismiss the Namekian due to his being unable to sense energy, and thusly not having the knowledge about the Namekian's power boost. Well, he was in for a surprise, as everyone was watching. And yeah, things got rough. But, unbeknownst to them, there was another party that had been observing the fight closely, and waiting for the opportune moment to interject. Of course, it's Cell. And he had intervened when the moment for attack seemed the most adequate. And although it seemed that the androids and of course Piccolo would have been able to stop him, the monster was able to use enough cunning tricks and devious distractions to absorb 17, despite their ceasefire. This of course then transforms him into his second monstrous form, which is stronger than either 16 or Piccolo. It seemed that the beast would triumph. Meanwhile, back up on the lookout, Shenron had to divide his attention between the cell attack and the training session of his new pupils. Much to his surprise, Goku arrived together with Gohan, Trunks, and Vegeta.
Hey Shenron, congrats! We just need your time chamber for these two.
Goku pointed to the future boy and his father.
This is a really bad moment, my friend. I think Cell is about to absorb one of the androids. Piccolo is in peril. Which is why you need to give me access to that room so I can kill that damn thing!
Vegeta was regaining his smugness, although Shenron was uncertain about the trust he was willing to give to the prince. But still, he didn't have too much choice, really.
Alright, Mr. Popo, send them in. And watch for our new students if they come out. I need to save Piccolo now.
But Guardian, you can't just go down there. It's too risky for you.
But Shenron just looked at him and nodded slowly.
Don't worry, my friend. I don't plan on dying right after getting my function. I have an idea.
And with his new Guardian powers, he simply teleported out. That was weirdly refreshing, he thought. Trunks, however, looked to Mr. Popo, slightly confused.
All right, but where did you two send everybody else?
Oh, they're experiencing the longest 5 minutes of their lives. There was something slightly, mischievous in the genie's voice when he said that, which, considering the situation, did not calm down Trunks' worries. Meanwhile, the 4 human warriors weren't truly aware that the time that they spent inside the pendulum chamber wasn't flowing as it was supposed to. Maybe it was down to the likes of fear, maybe adrenaline, or just plain magic that was confusing them. But getting hit on Frieza, as he was busy destroying Namek, was not an easy task at all. Goku, or the representation of Goku, was simply ignoring them, whilst the Emperor was busy destroying the planet. But even then, not a single beam attack, not a single Dodon Ray, not a single Kamehameha could reach him. Yajirobe was getting annoyed.
What am I even supposed to do here? I don't have any of your fancy blasting technique things.
Well, Trunks slices Frieza with a sword.
You got one, right? Well, use it!
Yamcha was yelling at the Ronin.
Well, I cannot fly, duh!
Tenshinhan looked toward the tyrant.
Well, I could give you a lift, but we're gonna need a distraction.
On it!
Chaozu knew that this was his cue. So, despite protests from Tenshinhan, he decided to get in a little bit closer.
Hey you! Ugly fish lips!
The vision of Frieza turned his head angrily toward the little fighter and captured him with his telepathy. There was something off about it. Yamcha decided to help out and went for a Wolf-Fang fist, but it dispersed before he could make contact with the Emperor. Meanwhile, Tenshinhan had picked up Yajirobe by the neck and charged toward Frieza.
Now or never! Don't fail us!
The Triclops yelled. As he became a projectile, Yajirobe decided to muster all of his bravery that he had within his blade, which started to glow with energy. To aid him even further, Tenshinhan shot a Dodon Ray toward the vision of Frieza, which was also blocked, but the distraction worked. They felt a grab of telekinesis. They knew that soon they might end up just as Krillin had done on Namek, with Chaozu popping up first, much to the Triclops' anger. At the same time though, Yajirobe had become a bladed cannonball, ready to head toward the Emperor, and before said Emperor or his mere visage had realized what was going on, his sword had cut a tip of his already damaged tail off. This made Frieza furious, and as he was about to go toward Tenshinhan, and at this very moment, Yamcha then went for a solar flare. "Alright buddy, get some hits in!" Yamcha charged in and grabbed his forearm.
Are you sure?
The Triclops seemed surprised. "Yeah, do it!" Yamcha was not a challenge for the Vision Frieza, but before he could shake off and blast the annoying bandit, Tenshinhan had managed to focus all of his might into one single punch that connected with Frieza's face. It did. As much as you would imagine, when hitting someone 60 times stronger than you would try and yield something, but it did connect. The vision started to fall apart. They had passed the test. Meanwhile, Semi-Perfect Cell was busy being triumphant as he threw Piccolo into the water and slowly but surely started his march toward Android 18 and the damaged 16, whom he had punched in the cranium. This felt rather good actually, but before he could continue, he heard a stern voice.
"Where do you think you're going?"
Shenron exclaimed.
Oh my, if it isn't the Eternal Dragon. And look at you. The Eternal Dragon has some new clothes, I see.
"As the guardian of this world, I order you to stop."
The Semi-Perfect Cell smiled mockingly.
Has Kami finally retired? That would explain things with Piccolo's sudden growth. But of all people, you? How are you connecting them? Being both the pet and the one holding the leash.
The Guardian did not allow himself to be provoked by all of these nonsense words from the monster.
But seriously, do you really think you can stop me? None of them could. And I don't think you have it in you to...
Magic materialization!
Shenron pointed a finger towards Cell.
What are you...
Cell paused, realizing that there were solid rock formations growing around him, and therefore enclosing him inside a rocky tomb.
"You! Androids! Get away from here! Soon he is going to be incredibly angry!"
18 looked at 16, and they decided to listen to this weird green-haired man who just appeared out of nowhere and had constructed a rock prison around Cell. The rocky tomb then exploded with the sudden growth of power from within.
Alright, I will admit, that was a neat trick. But now you will...
Magic materialization!
Shenron said, getting closer toward Piccolo. This time a small hill formed around Cell. The Guardian grabbed his Namekian friend by the arm, ready to teleport out, while the trap he set out for the monster exploded once more.
You don't even need to say it. Now you've made me really angry!
Magic materialization,
Shenron said, jokingly, as Cell charged at him and suddenly became encased in something resembling a building-sized asteroid. The impact wouldn't be enough to damage anything, but it was enough to distract the monster enough so he could teleport out with Piccolo and for the androids to fly away some distance. He was kind of proud of this, though materializing so much had been pretty draining for his energy. It's a good thing that some of Kami's abilities were so handy. Right now, he had to change his plans, as the Saiyans would be taking the time chamber soon. But back on the lookout, he realized that his new students had passed the test, with Tenshinhan and Yajirobe performing particularly well. And what gave him just a little bit more satisfaction to boot was that ungodly, angry roar that he could hear from miles away. He made a new enemy that day. Well, good. You are not getting my planet, you monster, thought Shenron to himself. It was now time for planning, and the Guardians started to understand why Kami liked this part so much. And that's where we're going to be leaving things for right now.